What is up, my planting people? My name is Lithius and welcome to Roots Ready. I think it's the time of year when everyone starts to think about what we want to do or what we want to achieve in the next year. And I thought I'd share a few of those with you as it relates to my plants. 2020 has been a crazy roller coaster of a year, but it got me closer to plants. Going into 2021, I have made a list of hopes and ambitions that I would like to achieve, but also I've also made a list of plants that I would like to hopefully get. I'm going to be sharing them with you today. I'm not going to lie to you, some of these plants on here are what people consider super rare. Most of them are, to be fair. I think looking at the list, there's probably only about 3 or 4 plants that are less rare. The majority of them I probably won't get next year, maybe not even the year after. I might have to wait a few years for the price to be right. But nevertheless, you know, you should always dream big. So that's what my mama told me, so that's what I'm gonna do. Cool, so let's kick it off. The first plant family on my list is the Alocasia. I recently purchased this bad boy over here and I'm just so in love with it. I just can't stop staring at this amazing foliage. And it's true to the name. It's called Alocasia Dragon Scale, and I can see why. If you look at these leaves, they look just like, it's the scales of a dragon. And there's so many Alocasias that I wasn't really aware of at the time, and now that I've started looking into them, I've added a few to my list. So the first one that I would like to purchase in 2021 is the Alocasia Friday. They've got this amazing venation on them, just this white that runs through that lime green color, and I just think it would just look amazing. And in due time, they do tend to grow quite large, and as you can see, I've got a thing about large foliage, so I'd love to add that to my list. The other Alocasia that I would love to get is the Black Velvet. Now, what I've seen so far is that they don't tend to grow as big as the Friday, for example, but just the color, it's like it looks black, and it's got again these white veins on it, and I think it would just look so amazing among sort of the plant jungle that I'm trying to create. Another plant family that I would love to get into next year is the Anthurium. So I've already got one Anthurium, and that's the Clarinervium. Gorgeous plant, and yeah, it just really opened my eyes to that sort of type of plant. But in particular, I'm really interested in getting the belt leaf variety. So I've added them to my list. I've got the Pendefolium on my list, and if you can see them, I'm gonna attach photos. It's just gorgeous. Originally, I thought that they were velvet leaf, but they're not. They're pretty much your standard leaf form, as you can imagine. I would also really love to add an Anthurium viterifordium to my list, and I'm aware that I completely butchered that name, but we move. So this type is a velvet leaf form, or what I can see. And they grow these huge long leaves, which is why they're called belt leaf anthuriums or strap leaf anthuriums, and I just think it's amazing, and it adds that prehistoric look to your plant jungle because the leaves just tend to hang down and just look incredible. I would also love to add the king anthurium, also known as the Veitchii anthurium, to my collection. I've already got the queen anthurium, but what's a queen without a king, or what's a king without a queen? I just love to complete that family. Now, something I've recently discovered and would love to add to my collection is the Crested Cactus. Now, I don't really care which one, there's so many different types, but just the shape and geometry of those plants is to die for. It's like nothing you've ever seen. Each one is super unique. I've seen a few and I just don't know what to make of them. I just think they're absolutely gorgeous. They are quite pricey if you want a large one. Imagine something like this price probably cost you near to maybe £200 to £300. So I would love to start with a small one and just see where I go. I just think they're so incredible. Now, another plant that I would love to get, I've already got one, but I would love to have a bigger one, is the Fiddle Leaf Fig, or Ficus lyrata. Now I've already got a small one, as I said, just over here. Look at that bad boy. So this is the Bambino version, which was sold to me as the regular form, but anyway, I love it. The same, it's a lot smaller. It's going to take a lot longer to get to the size that I would like, but I would love to get a bigger one to add to this room and to complete it. I think it's such a standout plant. I nearly bought one when I went to IKEA, but for whatever reason I didn't. I think I was going to buy a bed and I didn't have the space in my car at the time to bring it home, so I decided to leave it. Probably should have bought it, but nevertheless, it's something that I am planning to get in 2021. Just need to find the right location for it in my house, but I will find that location and I will purchase that plant. I'm coming for you. The next family of plants that I would love to increase my collection in is the Hoya. I recently, by chance, stumbled across this amazing Crinkle 8, and I thought, oh, this is gorgeous, and I hadn't ever looked into Hoya before this. So I thought, you know what, this is really, really cute. It was doing really, really well for me, and yeah, I think it's not as fussy as a lot of people made it out to be. But I'd love to add some more to my collection. I just think they're a really gorgeous plant. They come in so many varieties and they have some really interesting leaf shapes. So the two that I would like to add to my collection is the Hoya Glombosa. Now this is a gorgeous plant with amazing leaves, and I think it's just a lovely contrast. I think most of the leaves that I have are quite large. You can see I've got a particular leaf style that I really like, but this will just be an amazing addition to that collection. I would also love to get my hands on the, now bear with me, the Fujawensis. The ones that I've seen that I really love. It has these crinkles, but not like this one where the crinkles are on the inside of the leaves, but just on the edge of the leaf. It's got these amazing crinkles, and the vines that it grows on are not as straight as this, as I've seen. So I would love to get those two in my collection. So moving on, these are two plants that are very, very popular. They are the Monstera. Now the two that I would love to add is the Adansonii, which is a very common plant that I've seen at some of the big box stores in the UK, and I just haven't bought it yet because I had my eye on other things. It's not a super rare or super common plant, but it's one that I would love to have because, yeah, just to complete my Monstera family. Another one is the Monstera Thai Constellation. Now this plant is on that rare list, and you can see why it's called Thai Constellation, because it's got these like splashing all over it. Now this plant is, you know, a little bit on the pricey side at the moment, but I recently watched a YouTube video with someone talking about there is a plant nursery that is about to saturate the market with some of these bad boys, and I'm waiting for that. So hopefully 2021 will be the opportunity to buy one of those and add it to my collection at a reasonable price. Currently got the regular Monstera Deliosa over here. They're really quite easy to look after. They just sort of do their thing. You put it anywhere with a bit of light, bit of water, Bob's your uncle. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Next up is the Peace Lily. Now I've got one regular form of the Peace Lily, but the one I would love to add is the giant one. I don't know if you've seen them, but they are just incredible. It's basically this, but imagine it 5 times larger. I think it will make an amazing floor plant. I just love to have it, and I think it will look amazing in my collection, especially here in this room. Cool, so now we're gonna move on to some of the, definitely on the rarer end of that scale. These are the Philodendron, and I've chosen to go large or go home, they say, and add these to my list. And there are 3 on here. The first one is the Philodendron Heterocraspedon. I hope I've done that justice. The Billeti and the Patricii. Now, you will see that there are some commonalities with these plants. as they all have these massive sort of belt strap like leaves. I don't know, I'm in love with those, with that type of plant, with that shape, with the way it just sort of cascades past the pot. Now these plants are entirely out of my budget, especially the Heterocaspidon and the Patricii. At the moment they're going for anything upwards of £600–700, so I'm gonna wait and see how that goes, but boy can dream, can't he? So those are the philodendron that I would love to add to my collection. I haven't got many, I must admit, but I do have this one over here, which is the Imperial Red, which, oh my god, this is something incredible. Like, oh my days. I don't give this plant enough love, but it seems to love me, and I just forget how beautiful and how stunning this plant is until I sit next to it like I'm doing now and just gaze upon its beauty. Anyway, so those are the 3 philodendron that I would love to add to my collection. Now, as you'll see, most of the plants on this list were of the rarer variety, and that's because those are the plants that I aspire to have in my collection one day, and most of them are on that list because they're a bit more expensive and they'll take me a bit more time to find and to purchase one at the price that I am willing to pay. The common plants, I don't really add them to my list because I go purely on the way they make me feel, the way that they capture me when I see it. So I will go to a big box store or to a plant nursery and I will see a plant that's really common, not expensive, and it will just capture me. I'll be like, yes, you are coming home with me. So for that reason, I haven't added them to this list. This list is purely my fantasy list. So that was my wish list for my plants and what I'd like to acquire over the next year or in the future at some point. But I've also been thinking about my hopes and ambitions for 2021 as they relate to plants. One, and at the top of that list, is I want to be able to create more fun, educational and useful content on this channel, and you can help me do that by just letting me know exactly what you want to hear. If you're enjoying this content, if there's anything I could improve on, I would love to increase that engagement that I'm having with you guys, just to make sure that everything that I am putting out there is really beneficial to you and to your plant journey. Another thing that I would love to do is make some more planty friends, because I have maybe 2 planty friends at the moment, and I would love to increase that circle a bit more, to learn a bit more about plants, to be in that circle and hear about the latest crazes. I would love to be included in that. I would also love to visit more nurseries. There are a few closely located to me, and I have visited them, but I want to do more. I want to visit more. I want to see what it's all about. I want to be there. I want to see the plants, because at the moment most of my plant shopping is done online, and I think it's such a difference being there in person, getting to see the plant and feel its presence when you're there, and imagine how it could work in your space. I would love to start doing some more propagations, especially of this one. I want to start with this one. I haven't done a Hoya propagation before. I did a Monstera elbow propagation. I bought a leaf cutting. It's not doing well, I must admit, but nevertheless I want to keep doing that. I want to try my hand at some propagations, one, to increase my collection, two, to share with my planty friends. That might be the way in for me, who knows. Something that I've mentioned on my Instagram page before is I recently bought a queen Anthurium, and it suffered a fall, so it's currently rehabbing. It's seen some better days, I must admit, and one of my hopes for 2021 is that plant thrives for me and it recovers and I'm able to display it proudly, because at the moment it's just in its humidity box, just doing its thing. I've seen a little bit of growth and development, so fingers crossed it continues that way. But that's something I really want to see, just that plant in all its glory, in all its beauty, and display it proudly. As I said, on the edge of a shelf with its leaves hanging down, looking glorious and marvelous as any queen should. So that was it, guys. If you enjoyed this video and have seen any plants on here that you would love to add to your collection, let me know in the comments below. Would love to rap about that. Otherwise, hit that like button, share with your friends, and consider subscribing to this channel and following my Instagram page @RootsReady to stay up to date. Thank you so much and keep planting.